Welcome to I Thought I Knew How, a podcast about knitting and life and all sorts. I'm your host, Anne Frost, and this episode is being recorded on Monday, September 6th, 2021. This is a very different episode. I am in Shetland at the moment working on filming and editing the content for the Shetland Day event that is coming up on September 25th as part of Knit and Escape, which is an online knitting event that will run September 22nd through the 25th. Find out more about the event as a whole at knitandescape.com. The Shetland Day content will be available as a $20 add-on to your Knit and Escape experience and will include 8 hours of interviews and pre-recorded classes with members of the wool community here. They include interviews with people such as Oliver Henry, who is the wool grader at Jamieson & Smith, Wilma Malcolmson, who's this year's Shetland Wool Week patron. There is an interview in class with Alison Rendell, who shows us how to knit Fair Isle cuffs, and a lot more included in that. 6 of the 9 interviews are already filmed. I have 2 more tomorrow and the last one on Wednesday, and then I will be editing like a mad woman because my initial plan was to record 2 interviews a day and edit them in the evening and stay on top of it all. But many of these people I count as friends, so we end up talking longer than the planned recording time, or I end up staying to dinner. Plus, there have been millions of little fine-tuning tasks and things that need to be handled. So I'm afraid that of the 6 I have filmed so far, I have only edited 1. I woke up yesterday feeling a bit run down. Generally, it has been a very busy time, and I had a very lovely Sunday afternoon out at Uradale Farm with Vivica talking about their lovely yarns. They have a few new shades coming out, so watch for those. We went for a ramble down to the beach with the dogs and got to pop into the barns to meet this year's fleeces before they head off to be processed into their lovely yarns. The undercoats of their sheep are just incredibly soft. I wanted to burrow in among the fleeces, but they hadn't been cleaned yet, so that probably wouldn't have been the best idea. We finished our time together in her home talking about the work she is doing to preserve Shetland dialect. If you are interested in learning more about the dialect here, hop over to Instagram and YouTube and look for I Hear D. It's one of the projects she's tied in with, and it's meant for non-scholars, just folks like you and me who are curious about Shetland. This afternoon, I have no interview planned for Knit and Escape, so I'm hoping to get a few of them edited by the evening, and I think that will help me feel a little lighter and less bogged down. But it does mean that the proper episode I was planning, where we talk about what's on the needles and what's going on, has not come together. So what I would like to offer you instead is the audio from the latest episode of That Knitting Show. This is a new video podcast that I have started with Erin of Morehouse Farm. It's a monthly show, and it gives us a chance to actually show you the things we are working on rather than just talking about them. I love audio. I spend far more time in my life listening to things than I do watching things, but it does help to dip your toes into video now and then. Many of you have found us over on YouTube already. If you'd like, in a moment you can hop over to YouTube and search for That Knitting Show and watch instead of listen. I don't intend to do something like this again, but I thought it would be a good way to get a taste of what we are doing over there. And it was honestly either this or no show this week. And thank you for your patience with that. I was planning to go out on one of the interviews on the 3rd day I was here, and I was looking at everything I had to haul and thinking it would be great to have a crew. And as I answered last-minute questions, I've been thinking that it would be great to have an assistant with me. And when I edit, I think how lovely it would be to have someone doing this for me. But the nature of this level of content creation is that it's just not possible to have those things. I'm doing it because I love this stuff. I love the people I've met here. I love the landscape. I think the wool that's grown here is fascinating. The way the knitting traditions were formed and passed along and spread to the world, I love it all. So thank you to my sponsors for helping to cover some of the costs associated with this sort of advocacy. Knit New Haven is such a booster of the local knitting community in the New Haven area and supporter of wool producers. Morehouse Farm is doing so much good work spreading the word about the incredible qualities of wool that we need to start reincorporating back into our lives if we really want a cleaner world and home environment. And my patrons do so much with their individual financial support. It honestly means a great deal to me that so many of you back this work I'm trying to do. I think I'd have stopped a long time ago if it wasn't for knowing that I have your hands on my back. I'm going to head into the episode of That Knitting Show now. Check the show notes for links I mentioned. If you'd like to support the show, patreon.com/IThoughtIKnewHow is there for financial backing. But IThoughtIKnewHow.com has a link on it called Be a Booster that lists other ways you can support the show, including some that don't cost a thing. I'm hoping to be back in 2 weeks with a proper episode, though I will still be here in Shetland. It's a very long trip this time. I will see you again soon. Here is episode 3 of That Knitting Show. Enjoy.
I love this time.
Is that a hot pepper or is it just a pepper that's gone red?
Time of year when you have so many cool things. Want to find out?
Is this a dare? How much should I bite off if it's hot? Oh, it's
awesome.
I feel like it should be hot, but it's not. It's sweet.
It looks really super impressive to bite off.
Welcome to That Knitting Show.
I love this time of year when you have all kinds of good stuff from the garden.
Yeah. I like having friends who have gardens.
Even better, because I cannot eat all of these cucumbers. I've been trying.
Thank you for bringing them.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Very nice.
And these eggplants on the grill. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Abby's going to be very excited about the eggplants. I ate too much pepper. I didn't grow up eating eggplant. And so there's times when I just can't take it. You know, like, you know how it is sometimes with foods you don't grow up with and you're just like, but sometimes it's okay. But Abby straight up loves eggplant.
Awesome.
So
they went to good home.
There's a really delicious soup in the Philippines called sinigang. Love it. It's got all these like big chunks of vegetables, like big like chunks of vegetables, and then the chunks of meat too. They're really big like that. And then the broth is tamarind. It's really, really good. And eggplant is a key ingredient. So
I had to ask about the not growing up with eggplant. Is that because someone in your house didn't, or you didn't like it when you were
I
small?
wonder if my mom didn't like it. There were a lot of things that like we just never ate because my mom didn't like them.
That's the rules of the house, right?
Yeah.
Like when your mother's cold, you put on a sweater.
Right, exactly.
So we were at my house having dinner, and I'd started cooking Brussels sprouts, and you saute them a little olive oil and maybe a little bacon if you're going nuts, and just a little onion, really good stuff. And my husband's gingerly trying them, and then like, wow, these are really good. How come I've never had these before? So we asked his mom when she came over next, and she said, because I don't like them.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I don't cook things I don't like usually.
I think, like, our parents' generation and grandparents' generation, it was very... Oh, I forgot to turn off the air conditioner. I hope you can't hear the air conditioner. It's actually really hot, so I'm sorry if you can. I'm going to leave it on for this show, I think.
Can't you, like, edit out a sound clip of that, like, particular
Just, like,
wavelength?
Take that out. I'm not that good. I think, like, the generations before us were told that you had to, like, cook the heck out of vegetables.
And meat.
Yeah.
Like everything, right? To keep it safe.
So a lot of vegetables weren't delicious because it was overcooked and mushy.
And it beat the salting the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, and I think for shelf stable, too, because my sister works for a company that makes baby food and toddler food, and in order to pass all the health requirements, it needs to be shelf stable, which means a lot more cooking than you would do for a fresh fruit or vegetable. So, yeah, like,
so
slice
this is
these.
our special gardening episode.
Yeah, right. Slice these thin, spray them with a little bit of cooking oil, then salt and pepper, grill. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
There's your recipe for the day, too.
I might eat all of this. I'm putting it away now, so it's
out of my reach. No more
what
cucumbers.
You can't see is I have a kitchen-sized table here that I use for a filming space, and it is covered with knitting right now. We have so much to share with you today.
as all tables should be.
Right. Erin, first I want to hear about knitting in the sunflowers that you did recently.
What an awesome spot. And thank you so much to the farm Woodbury for hosting us. We had 3 sold out classes and then a hurricane. But that's the way life goes. But our Friday class, we had beginners come and learn how to just start knitting. So we did the winter garden cowl, which is just
So pretty.
one skein of bulky. And can I do the Christy Glass thing and like wear them all?
Yeah,
All at
pile
once?
them on. I was going to
So-
hold it up for the camera first.
Okay, well, we can
but
do that too. But this one I made on a bigger needle just to explain the concept of gauge. So look at the way it can like
It's nice and drapey.
spread out. So
Yeah.
anyway, yes, you
Well,
can.
and that, put it back on for a second for me. Because the thing I like about big cowls like this is you can like crisscross it like that and close your coat over it. And then it looks like you're wearing a scarf. So it's like multi-purpose.
Without the ends, hands
Yeah.
free. And then I love that you can use whatever side you like better on a
Yeah.
reversible design, and it's not quite the same on both sides, but just enough. So if you know someone that would love to learn to knit, that's a project that's in the Morehouse Merino flock in a self-paced course. So if you're trying something and it's not quite working out, you get to do it over and over again with the videos you just need rather than the
Right.
what do you call it? You used to call it channel fishing when you were back in the day when you had radio where you had to hit
switch
like
the channel.
seek.
Turn.
Exactly,
turn.
right? Throwback. That one's not a good song. Same thing with YouTube videos. So one of the students was saying, this is super helpful because when I was
Yeah.
ready for the next thing, here's the next video. So look at my cowl. Those are the best emails to get, by the way. Look what I made.
Yeah, I bet. People are so proud. And having made it with the yarn that you made, that's amazing. I'm going to hold it up closer. Hopefully it will focus on it just so you can see the different colors really well in that.
And that's one of those
Beautiful.
that I wouldn't normally grab. It's called Zest. But it was just such a cheerful, hot day. We're there in the middle of a sunflower field knitting.
How did the sunflowers do in the hurricane? Did they have stronger winds down there? Because like the news for us was like we're all going to die. A hurricane's coming, and then
Yeah,
it was
it
like
was
a
kinda
bad
like that.
thunderstorm, basically for us.
They did okay
they're-
through the wind, but the sunflowers naturally, bloom for a couple of weeks, so they were kind of getting to the end anyway. But I thought they were so gorgeous. And there were this variety's called Kong, and it was, they're 12 or 15 feet tall.
Wow.
Which is just unbelievable. So people, as part of their admission, got to pick sunflowers, or you could buy extra stems, and they were coming in with, like almost torches of giant sunflowers, like too long to fit in your car. So that was really neat to watch.
That's
And
awesome.
what else? Oh, well, it went so well. Of course, we had to reschedule that one hurricane day, and it wasn't everybody's going to die, but we did lose power for a day because, hey, trees fall over when it starts raining
Yeah.
that hard all at once. But we're going to do knitting in the pumpkin patch next.
Oh, that'll be great.
So end of September 26th, if you're near Western Connecticut, we're going to be in Woodbury. So
Yeah.
I have those up on our website already. First come, first serve, and excited to see some
That's
of our
excellent.
students back for another round.
That's awesome. Yeah, I couldn't go because I was in Belize when you were doing the thing.
Likely story.
Yeah, my father-in-law invited us to go down with him. He and his wife were having their anniversary, and they asked us to go down and just do the trip with them.
Nice.
It was fun. I did not realize until, I don't know, a few days before when I was finally like, I should look into this country because I don't know a lot about it. Sorry, my allergies are acting up today. And Belize is an English-speaking country.
Score.
So I was like, that's awesome. And when we got down there, because they used to be a British colony, they're still part of the Commonwealth, but they speak American English.
Oh, wow.
Like language, accent-wise. And yeah, it was, if you are not a seasoned traveler, if you are wanting to get your feet wet in some international travel, I think Belize would be an excellent first country to try out because everything was in English. The signs and roads and everything functioned as they do here. People weren't driving like maniacs like they do in some other countries,
Like Boston.
like Boston, yeah. The Philippines, if you ever go to the Philippines, hire a driver.
When I was in Amman, Jordan, I heard one English language radio station, and the guy calling in said, I'm from Boston, and you guys scare me in driving. And my friends who were living there at the time that I was visiting said, these are the things that you need to watch out for, and if you're really sure you want to go out. But they turned me loose with some car keys and a few phrases so that I could get my way
you were
around.
brave.
And
Yeah.
it was fantastic, though. I think, being able to go out and adventure like that. Like, how did your family land on Belize? Because it wasn't, you said it was someone else's idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because Adam's my husband, and his father, they both like to dive.
Mm-hmm.
And so they decided on Belize, because Belize has some of the best diving in our hemisphere, and so they decided to go there. Unfortunately, Adam's dad wasn't able to go because he got congested that day, and you can't dive when you're congested, so he missed out on that. But we did some other things. We went and saw some Mayan ruins, including one of the buildings had only been uncovered like 2 months before.
Oh, wow.
So it was still...
I thought when you said he couldn't go, like you all went on the
No.
anniversary trip without
He
him
came
for a
on the
minute.
trip. He couldn't go diving on that day because he had some stuffiness going on.
But my first
we
thought
just
was,
left him.
I'm going to celebrate your anniversary without you.
Have fun.
But 2 months ago.
Yeah, so the building, and I didn't ever realize this, but the reason why the buildings down there are pyramidal is because, like they'd build a building, and then the next ruler would come in, father to son kind of thing, and he'd be like, okay, I'm going to do better than my dad, and he'd come in and build over the building. Oh. And then the next one would build over the building. And so they ended up being these pyramidal structures. And so you see like the giant temples, or even just, the smaller housing. And that's why they're pyramids. And that's why they're so huge, is because they weren't built that way originally. They were built that way over like 300 years, Mm-hmm. They'd do layer after layer. And that was one of the things they did with that one, is they'd uncovered it, but then they'd also gone into it. So you could see, I want to say there were 6 layers.
So is it like 3 little rooms inside with the pyramid on top?
No, it was
and
like
then
solid. Like they'd make it solid because, okay, so here's another thing I didn't know. See, I promise we'll get to knitting, I promise. So so in this structure that we went to, this area that we went to, it had the great big pyramid on one side, and then like a lawn, and then there was another, and then a lawn, and then there was, another great big pyramid.
So a neighborhood.
Yeah, but it's big, and like this part was for the rich people, and that part was for the less rich people, and then the working people were over in they had their own structure area. So you have these pyramids, right? And we're like, oh, they must all be temples, but that's not, like, that's where the rich people lived. And so you would have like spaces like this on the top of the pyramid, right? And there would be walls between it. So you'd have like a row like this at the top of the pyramid with walls. Those were their
balconies.
Rooms.
Oh, like, was it open to the outside?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, not then. Not then it wasn't. Okay, so here, have an arm, be an arm. So here's the side of a pyramid, okay? And
my Halloween costume.
And this, like, they would put a ceiling over, a curved ceiling, and a wall down.
Sure,
and then the room went back into it like that. But now, because the wood, the wood rots away, and a lot of the times they use dynamite to start excavating, like the wood's not there anymore, and so it just looks like a pyramid with like cutouts into it, but really it was like squared off at the top back in the day.
Okay. And
he said that our guide was an archaeologist, and he so you have like a row of that on either side of the pyramid, and he said and back in the olden days there was a wooden porch that went from the front side to the back side, so it was like the whole family lived up there around the whole thing, and they had access to the whole thing around in wood, but they didn't, like, now it's not there anymore. It was informative. It was like, my mind was blown the whole time.
What year was this built-ish?
So that place that we were was like between 600 and 900 was when people were living there.
So my dad always says his house is like a cathedral, it'll never be done, because it takes 300 years to build it.
Yeah, so he's just... Exactly. So that was where...
So 600 to 900, so a good 1,500 years ago.
Yeah.
So what do you think people are going to look at our houses and say in 1,500 years?
Are they going to be around? Are they going to last? I mean, you go to, upstate New York or whatever, and you're walking through the woods and you come across a foundation to a house that's stone.
Or on a hike when you find 3 baby bears.
We saw 3 baby bears today cross the road. And I was like, are those our bears? I don't know if I think we talked about that in an earlier episode.
Maybe.
But yeah. They were like doggish size. And it was just down the road here. And they ran across. And I was like, oh, a dog's loose. And Adam's like, those aren't dogs, those are bears. And 2 more came through. And then they climbed up. There's a pine tree in the woods on the other side.
Oh, nice.
And you could, there was a hole in the foliage. And you could see them climbing up the pine
Playtime.
tree.
Well, that's better than on the other end of town where when the Angus cattle get loose, someone calls in a bear.
Just as a herding dog?
Well, they all have sort of similar outside sweaters. Black lab, baby bear, cow.
Should we talk about knitting?
Always.
I haven't seen Erin in ages, so we're kind of getting caught up with each other and with you
and that'll be the next time
too.
too.
Talk a little bit about knitting. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Bring it on next.
All right. So, tell me a couple things you got on the needles right now.
On the needles right now.
Yeah.
So in the flock, we are working on the Atlantis tunic, and I know there's a lot of people wanting to see that in a variegated. So here you go.
I have mine here and solid.
I can't decide which side should be the outside. Is really the problem because they're both.
I wanted to bring that up when you're talking about the cowl and how you could choose which side, because that's been a discussion on the group. It looks like it doesn't fit me, but it blocks wider. So that's something to be aware of when you're knitting this, is that it will block wider and a little longer. So yeah, that's been a debate on the group. So I have mine in a solid color wine. I don't remember. Boysenberry?
Burgundy.
Okay.
It's a kind of wine, I think.
So this is how it is supposed to be, is this way. But if you want, you can also have it be that way.
Oops, have I been wearing it backwards all this time? Maybe.
Possibly. But yeah, I don't know.
Either way, they're just
I honestly
awesome.
don't know which way I prefer. I honestly don't. So I did seam it the right way. But even so, with the shoulder seam anyway, you do it as a 3-needle bind off, and it almost just looks like another ridge.
Which means it's reversible.
So it could basically be reversible, I think.
I like that idea. All right, so we got 2 sweaters in the making because at Open Farm Day, we're going to have a group picture, 12:15 if you're wearing your Atlantis tunic, right after lunch or right before lunch, depending on when you want to eat peppers.
I can't resist. It's really good pepper.
Come on over. We're going to find a nice spot at Morehouse Farm, and we're going to all have a nice group photo in our Rhinebeck sweaters.
I like it in the variegated too. I think it's fun.
Me too. So now if I could get things to pool the way I want them to, right? But I've just enjoyed watching it unfold. And by the way, if you're worried that you don't have enough time to make a sweater between now and Rhinebeck,
this is fast.
I did half of this on a 2-hour flight, and I took a nap.
Yeah, and I saw her post where she talked about how she did half, and I was on my way back from Belize, and my flight time was almost the same as your flight time, and I also did half. So it's not just that she's super speedy or whatever.
No. And look at the needles I brought with me. One, because I wanted to experiment to see, can I still knit with these needles?
Yeah, because you don't use straight needles.
Not usually. But I would like to get more use out of my knitting belt and work on my lever knitting at the same time. So I'm trying to reacquaint myself. And I was also curious, how would that be? Because I haven't flown in a while with straight needles.
Oh, if they were going to give you a problem? Have a problem with it?
Have fun knitting. Awesome.
No problem.
Yeah. So highly encourage knitting on a plane. And these even weren't bad with my neighbor. I was able to maneuver so that I wasn't.
So you weren't poking.
Right. So.
Did you see that Jeanette Budge is doing knitting belt online classes?
I did. And I'd love to be there in person, but we'll have to.
I know. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll have to, do this from far away. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
I was supposed to take it the other day, and I did the time conversion wrong.
Oh no!
So I thought it was at 1. It was at 11. Oh. And I was literally looking for the email to get the Zoom link when her email came through saying, thanks for joining in the class earlier today, you know, and I was like, no, and then I realized I did the time conversion wrong. So she's very kindly going to try and slide me in on another class so I can get that part. Awesome. But it's actually a really smart thing. So the actual class part is about an hour, and she will talk a lot about the history, is my understanding. I don't know because I missed it. But then she sends you videos for the instructive part. So you can play it like in the group, in the Morehouse vlog. So you have them and you can play them and watch them and like rewind and watch again. And I was like, that's really
good
smart.
model, right?
It's
the
a good
videos
model.
you need when you need them.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was cool. So I got the video, so I was able to practice that. So now I'm just hoping to get into one of the...
Scooting ahead. Did you ever notice that in the class? So I was really watching this as we were knitting in the sunflowers, because the other class we did get to do was the ram's horn shawl. So we laid out solids or variegateds. I haven't even formally introduced this. Like, you all have seen it work.
Well, we talked about it in our first episode. That was the tan shawl I was wearing,
And then I was working, I think, on this one when we were at the farm last time. And so I put out the yarn, pick the color you want, sit there, and then we're working on it. And just, some people are like, where's the pattern? And then they want to knit like the first 10 rows before you've even said, hi, I'm Erin.
Right.
And then other people are like, can I start? Yes. Go ahead. 4 stitches, cast on however you want. It was a lot of fun, and I think it's just a good reminder of everybody's going to work at their own pace. That's why we say behind is just something that you sit on, right? Like, Anne's practically done with her sweater, and I haven't bound off my shoulders yet.
Yeah, but this is the one I brought to show my show and tell for one of the things on the needles, because now this is going to wait a month before I pick it up again.
Because you'll be...
Because I'm leaving soon. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so I got this far. But as you said, it's a quick knit.
So if you have...
So I think the sleeve was like 2/3 the width of this, so the sleeves will go even faster. So I'm really not worried about it. I'll have 2 weeks when I get back to get it finished. Did you seeing something?
I was curious if you'd put the sides together.
No, because it says to pick up the sleeves here and knit long.
Because that's one of those other modifications that's pretty easy to do. If you want a wider armhole, because you have bigger shoulders, because you're going to pick up the sleeves, you can kind of measure that on yourself and adjust it before you get rolling on the whole sleeve, which means it's a totally custom sweater.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to say with this sweater is I know you had it graded for extra small, the 3X?
I'm trying to get to numbers because sometimes I'm a small and sometimes I'm a 2X. So that doesn't help me figure out what I want. So,
but you have it for multiple
range,
sizes.
Yep. Like 30 to 60.
We talked about this last time about the fit and everything, and I'm still in denial that a medium is going to fit me properly. But I was looking at the pattern, and it's so easy to just make it whatever size you want because it's a 2-stitch repeat. So I just to be on the safe side, I cast on 2 more stitches, which is going to give me about 1/2 inch more, I think, is all. But still, it made me feel better.
Well, that gives you a little bit extra ease.
Give me a little bit more,
But
what else do you have on your needles?
On my needles, I have started, this is called Amberine, and it is by Amy Snell, the Devious Knitter, our friend. And this starts as a triangle in this corner, and then she's got several triangles that fit together differently to make a rectangle wrap. And she did hers in this gorgeous, like, wheat yellow. The model in the field. It was part of a Bay Area project, and I got the entire book because it's one of those things like, remember when you used to buy a tape if it had like X number of songs that you liked?
Yeah, I had to have at least 3 for me to buy the thing.
Okay, and then maybe a CD, and iTunes kind of blew all that away, but that's the idea, right? If there's a knitting book that has X number of patterns that I like, on my shelf or downloaded, it goes. So yeah, that's Amberine. And I'm excited to show that off at Rhinebeck. So that's in Morehouse merino lace, and so soft. It hasn't even been blocked yet.
I know, and that's, for lace usually doesn't look nice until it's blocked, but that's already working out.
So awesome job,
beautiful.
Amy.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's on my needles.
Awesome.
What else have you got?
So I had my Atlantis tunic, but this is the other thing that I have right now. So this is the, let me squish my needles a little bit. This is the Alexandra capelet. Whoa, sorry. Getting everybody seasick. So the bottom, it'll fit about this low. And I have about 1 more colored repeat to go. Well, no, I have about that much more. will come up here. And then after that, it goes back to the green, and it's ribbing so that it can form from your neck down to your shoulders without having to shape it. Like the ribbing, there is shaping it, like with reducing, decreasing, I guess is what we say in knitting world. You do some decreases, but also because it's ribbing, it'll curve around. And then the lace. So this is by a Shetland-based designer named Mandy Moore. It's under Olach Designs, OLACH. Designs in Ravelry, and she is a new designer. She's been like test knitting and knitting for people and stuff. And when the lockdown started, she was like, "It's now or never." And she's just been pumping out patterns, and they are beautiful. They are beautiful patterns. So
Mandy Moore.
And so I saw this when she first put it out in, I want to say, March of last year. I could be making the month up, but it was like last year, right? And this was the first one that she published, and I favorited it. And then I swear I favorite like 900 things, and then I never go back and look at my favorites when I want to find a pattern. Like, what's wrong with me? But someone, she had posted a new pattern for a new hat that she did, and someone was like, "Where do you find these patterns?" And so I went to get the link from the Ravelry store, and while I was there, I saw this again, and I was like,
"Okay, that's mine."
Yeah, I really need to get that on the needles. So I went digging through my stash, and I had colors that worked well together, and so now it's coming up. It's coming up on my needles.
So you know what that's making me think of?
What?
I did a self-paced yarn crawl with my friend Jeannie in Chicago. And hi to Tom and Cindy at Stunning String.
I forgot you went to Chicago. How was Chicago?
Well, that's where I gotta have my sweater knit, right? Well, had an awesome time to meet up with Tom and Cindy at Stunning String, and bought one of her designs, which is a cape, wine colored. It's actually called Wine Country, and I promised myself that that's like my next prize to cast on as I've finished up a bunch of projects that I've got going on.
Nice.
So that we're ready
we
for
can be capelet twins.
Okay. Yep. For our next Oscar
and eat peppers. I got all excited the other day because so if you've been with us for a while, and I don't mean just like that knitting show, but our exploits, the beginning of this year, was it this year?
I don't know, last 18 months or like
weird. We did 3 shawls
of Louisa's.
Capelets of Louisa Harding's. And
we need to get back to that.
There is a so we decided that at some point we were going to wear them with bridesmaid dresses in a field, because that's how the pictures are in the book. It's all these like beautiful young ladies in bridesmaid dresses,
fancy makeup and hair,
and the thing, and we're like, we're going to do that someday.
Except I'll have like black eye makeup.
And I got so excited, and I don't know why I'm telling this story, because it's a story of how I got something wrong, but there's an old laird's house on Shetland that has been fixed up, and now they're putting it on the market.
Oh, I think I saw a post about this.
Yeah, Marie Wallen used it a lot for her photo shoots, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the actual place. And I was in the middle of emailing you, like, we now know where it is. And then I was like, it was Louisa Harding, not Marie Wallen. What's your problem? So there's a story that's totally pointless, and I apologize.
Well, it's okay. We could just like plant our own heather in the sheep pasture and then go stand there. Actually, that would be a whole lot more local, right? We just use the Morehouse pasture. We don't have heather, but we have some other wildflowers.
Beautiful wildflowers at Morehouse. Behind the pond, it's all that grassy beautifulness.
With all the milkweed for the butterflies. Can you imagine if we had a swarm of butterflies?
That would be. We'd have to dress like butterflies.
Plan that, right?
Can't work. So those are my 2 things that I have on the needle right now. I have more things on the needle, but I'm just talking about those 2.
Mm-hmm.
So Erin and I both finished bowls that we knit and felted, and mine is full of my Morehouse remnants from my last, 1, 2, 3, 4 projects.
Look at the size of that thing.
It's a lot.
Interested to compare them.
Yeah, it doesn't need that in there to hold it up. It really stays up on its own.
Because we're going to set the table here with Morehouse. Wait till you see the other projects that we got going on here. So I've been experimenting with this because we were going to have a brioche buffet in October, right? Which is really well timed for though.
And it wasn't, so Erin taught me how to brioche to do this, and it wasn't that hard.
She was on a Zoom meeting when we were doing it, actually.
Yeah.
Like, we were both supposed to be paying attention to other things, and she picked up brioche, and off she went.
started
And
doing it.
everyone's saying, oh no, what was the other thing you're not supposed to do when you're on a Zoom meeting?
Lace and brioche.
And then they were like, people start chatting in, I'm totally brioching for this.
Yeah.
So, I think I showed you the hat last time.
Yes.
Right? So we've got a scarf that goes with that Donna Easton designed. This is the hat. We've got the brioche bowl, which I'm super excited
I
about.
love the red and white together.
That would be sort of holiday-ish.
Yeah, I really
Or
like
candy-ish.
that.
Or Valentine's Day-ish.
Valentine's, Christmas,
Whatever
just
you-
because you're a cool person.
Yeah, and it looked really good with peppers in it.
Yeah.
Peppers are mostly gone now.
I wonder how that happened.
So that's the bowl that we finished. I did a needle holder. So if you're not sure what to do with your double pointed needles and you don't want to have a fancy case for it, Margaret always had like a pencil holder kicking around and she would just put them in. So if I had a mug that we wanted a sheep show, I would stuff my double pointed needles in that. Perfect. And then you just, get to know what size is which is actually, when you do it a bunch,
you
now
start
I
to
can
be able to
eyeball
tell.
them. Yeah. So anyway, so we knit a brioche pencil holder. So
Nice.
these are all projects that are going to be coming up in the flock, available on morehousefarm.com. And I might even have an early October knit along in the works that will help you get used to brioche if it's something that you want to add to your toolbox.
Nice. Excellent. What else have you finished since
What
last
else have I
time?
finished since last time?
You have your...
My ram's horn, yep. And this is actually, I should probably save that for what's coming up next, huh? In the flock? Can I
Yeah,
just-
well, we can talk about it
interrupt
later, or we
that?
can talk about it now.
Actually, I want to brag on these because my friend
Yes!
Victoria made these. She was test knitting a pattern. And by the way, when
They're so
Anne said
beautiful.
she had a kitchen table size table,
It is.
it's because I can't reach
It's
it
my
here.
old kitchen table.
So what Victoria was testing for me is what we are going to set the table with at Morehouse Farm. So these are placemats.
Look at them.
Isn't that cool? So it's
Oh,
linen
perfect.
stitch, and by the
Look
way,
at it.
that means reversible. Look at the other side.
So cool.
So 3 skeins gives you 3 color stitch, and there's enough for 2 placemats in those 3 skeins. And if you knit to gauge like Victoria, you also get 2 bonus coasters.
Nice.
And her kitchen, I can't wait to see these in her kitchen. She mailed them to me so that I could do some photography.
Uh-huh.
And then I want to see her kitchen. She picked these colors because she's got a 1950s diner theme going. So they're going to be awesome when they go back home. But
Yeah.
thank you so much, Victoria.
They
Love you.
turned out so well. I saw the pictures. Erin showed me the pictures before she posted them, and I was like, "No way! They
So
look so
now I need to set up a
awesome."
big table at the farm, like
Yeah.
with some actual dishes and
with
stuff.
bowls,
Bowls and dishes. Yeah.
wool bowls.
Oh,
The pencil cups can be the cups.
Actually, wasn't I using it as a koozie before?
Oh yeah, put a soda in it.
Okay. So that's a thing off the needles that I'm super proud of. So thank you,
There's
V.
so much knitting around us right now. Okay, my next
Your hat
thing-
stash.
So, since the last time, I want to say I finished half of these hats. So, this is my stack of Shetland Wool Week hats. So, every year, Shetland Wool Week produces a pattern for a hat to promote the use of Shetland wool. And that's what this is here, actually. This painting behind me
Nice.
is the first 6. And then last year's isn't on it because that was before last year's. And
Okay,
then,
4 more years.
And then this is the Crofter's Cap here. This is in the Jameson and Smith yarn. This might be my favorite one. And then actually,
Perfect for
I
fall.
don't know. I really like, this is from Fulla Wool, which does undyed wool in the natural shades that come from the Shetland sheep. This is from Uradale yarns, and I changed the colorway on this because I had enough to knit from stash, but I didn't have the right background color, so the darker, it was on a lighter
Nice.
one. And this is from Shetland Handspun. Oh my gosh. So this is by
hold
Elizabeth
for a minute.
Johnston. So just feel, I don't want to show what the other one is because I don't want it to be like dissing different yarn companies, but feeling that, which Elizabeth hand prepares the fleeces herself and spins herself versus the commercially
I'm just amazed at the spinning. Wow.
Isn't it amazing?
And so this means too, right? The wool that she's chosen to spin with.
Yeah.
And then also partly spinning method. Because when we have different mills spin different yarn,
It ends up different.
it definitely ends up
Yeah.
different, right? That's the technique that's used, but then also what's it like after you block them. So
Right.
And what I love about these colorways, this is actually reminds me very much of our Firefly yarn, which is pinks and
gosh.
blues and tans.
Yeah.
I did my baby Calvin sweater in that, if you remember that. If not, go find it on our website. It's adorable. And it's just a brighter version of this.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to have to go cast one of those on. Okay.
Yep.
Next on my needles.
Easy.
But
So
well done.
These two, though, I just recently finished, and
I'd be
these
an arm
were
for a pyramid,
experiment.
I'll hold you.
These were an experiment. So this was the first one, and I will talk about these colors in a moment. These are not colors I normally would pick to go into a Fair Isle project together. I'll tell you why I picked them in a moment. But so this is the first one I did, and I split the middle, so you can see the center motif, the center pattern has 4 colors in it. 1, 2, 3, and then a center color, and then it repeats down again. I simplified it to 3 instead of 4 because the yellow, pink, and blue were the 3 colors I really was working with. And then had it on a darker gray background with a lighter gray for the light. There's just a few in the background that gets lighter. And it looks really muddled to me. I can't see the pattern work in here.
I think the tones
It doesn't. And that's
similar,
what
right?
happens. Yeah. So I took a black, after I finished, I should have done this before. I took a picture, and from here through here and then under the yellow down, it's just the same shade of gray. And when you are choosing colors for your Fair Isle work, you want to take a picture of all your colors, right? And then change it to the black and white setting. Just go into edit the picture, change it to black and white, and make sure that once you're there in that black and white, there's different shades of gray going on. And you want to pair up.
Can we like try that here just as a, like with your yarn bowl?
Sure.
Hey, 2 pictures.
So we'll compare.
Well, there's a
put those
pepper
up
in there
here.
too. Oh, not quite.
It's delicious. So what I decided to do, I needed more contrast in the tones. So that's when I did this one. Mm-hmm. I went to a medium gray with a lighter gray. And then I also simplified the center motif, so it's just the blue with the yellow running
The light
through.
here really makes it kind of glow, but also
That's
pops that out.
what was happening. So I was taking pictures as I went along this time. So this looked fine. The yellow against the gray was fine. The pink against the gray was fine. When I got to the blue and the light gray, again, the tones were super similar. So I said, okay, now here, this center light gray was supposed to just be 2 rows above and below. Mm-hmm. And I switched early to the lighter gray so that it would help that pop a little bit more.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think it works a lot better. So
I love these candy colors. And looking at this sideways now, like on the desk in front of her, like that's really eye-catching.
I don't think this is bad. I think this would have worked better if I had done the same sort of thing with the motif here, just simplified it. I think it would have worked better. Mm-hmm. But it's still like, I don't know, like the pink against this gray doesn't work for me against that blue. It's just, I like this better.
Eyes are funny.
And I've posted this up on my Instagram, and I've had people say they prefer this one. There's an element of that too. Like what you prefer is what you prefer, and that's fine.
Well, I think eyes are funny things, right? Because I will never know what you see any more than you'll know what I see. And as a yarn seller online, we always struggle with that because your phone settings are different than my phone settings, than your monitor, than my monitor.
Shades.
And then I didn't realize this, but as we get to certain ages, we develop cataracts, and we all do it at different rates. And my friend Mary said, because she had one cataract done and then another one, she had no idea how your vision over time with a cataract changes color.
Yes.
To be more of a
yellowy.
yellow.
Yeah.
So when I see gray and you see brown,
Right.
may also be something related
Something
to our,
going with our eyes. Yeah.
And it may not be anything bad, right? It may just be the way the tones go.
Right.
But she said, I never realized that until I had one done and one not. And then I'm looking at a piece of paper and it was different colors
It's like
depending on
totally
which eye I was
different.
using.
Right. So the reason why I knit this hat.
And what is it with the colors? Like, awesome.
Yeah. So these are the colors for the Knit and Escape event put on by Christy Glass. She has an online event coming up towards the end of September 22nd to the 25th. And the last day of that event, September 25th, is also the first day of Shetland Wool Week. And she asked me if I would put together a Shetland Day as part of Knit and Escape, with the hopes that people would be exposed to Shetland in her festival who weren't necessarily aware of Shetland Wool Week, and then would carry on into Shetland Wool Week and
It's
enjoy
like 2
that.
weeks of knitting.
Yeah, so I am leaving. By the time this goes up, I will have been in Shetland for about 4 days.
When do you leave?
I leave on Monday, but I will have been there for, I think, 5 days, I think, by the time this goes live. Because we put them up on the 4th. And I'm arriving on the 31st of August. So, so these are the colors for the Knit and Escape. And so I made this to wear while I'm doing my presentation, because I'm doing a presentation about what Shetland Wool Week is and what the purpose of it is, and then some tips and tricks for getting into classes and traveling there safely and all of that sort of thing. And then I also have 10 interviews, lessons, things like that I'm going around to talk to people about. So Hazel Tyndall, world's fastest knitter, lessons with Allison Rendall, who's Fair Isle Knitting on Instagram, and Barbara Shane, who is the lady I learned to steek with. She's going to give us a steeking class / demonstration. Jeanette Budge, who you heard me mention talking about the knitting belt, she's going to talk to us about the knitting belt, and the Peary Mackers, who are it's the group that goes into the schools in Shetland and teaches the children knitting using the local traditional methods.
Nice.
So not just like, let's YouTube. Like, this is how I learned from my mom and they do have different ways that they do things there. So they're keeping those methods alive.
Is there a height limit? No, seriously.
They do have at the Shetland Textile Museum, they do have spinning and mackin nights, and that's the point of that, is everybody come and then you can learn from the people who are there. It's a knit night, but everybody's generous with their knowledge there, and so you can get some knowledge from that. And then of course that's the point of Shetland Wool Week too, right? Is that you're doing that. So the event is going to start with a live croft tour with Chris Dyer at Garth's Croft Bressa. I got to get back into the saying things
correctly
the right way.
Yeah. Steps.
So I'll be there on the croft with Chris and helping him film that, and then everything else is going to be pre-recorded. We're going to meet with Oliver.
Wool grading.
Yeah, we're going to talk about wool grading in the Jameson and Smith wool shed. We're going to meet with Louise and Catherine, I believe, who's going to do the interview at Jameson's of Shetland, to hear about. They have a mill. They're the ones who actually have a mill there in Shetland. Who else? I feel bad now because I'm sure I'm forgetting people.
We'll scroll the list underneath.
Yeah,
with ticker tape,
I will put
keep
a
going.
link in. So if you are participating in Knit and Escape, the Shetland Day is another $20 to get access to all of the Shetland Day events that are going on, and it starts at, I think, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and it goes for 8 hours.
And
8
what day?
hours of contact.
What day
It's the 25th. It's the Saturday
Okay.
in September.
Good. Now we can mark that.
So that's that.
Because the next day I'm going to be knitting in the pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
Busy weekend.
And then that whole next week is Shetland Wool Week.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm super pumped. So
that
I'm
kicks
leaving
off.
for Shetland on Monday. The first 10 days I'm going around and getting all of those things filmed and editing them. And then Adam's going to come over and join me for 12 days. And then Shetland Wool Week starts, and then there's so many of us who are still going anyway. I mean, not tons, but there's quite a few of us who are still going anyway. And so I'm actually going to have a listener meetup if you are coming to Shetland Wool Week.
Going in your backpack.
Yeah, come on. It's going to be on the Wednesday. I can't remember the name. I'll put the date in the show notes. I actually have a Facebook event. You're welcome to join us if you would like to join us. There's a really great restaurant there called Number 88, No 88. We're going to meet there, and everyone's just going to cover their own bills, and we're just going to have lunch and enjoy.
Serious FOMO.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be back home at the farm getting ready for Open Farm Day.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. So then I get back October 6th, and
you're going to sleep, so you're rested.
I'm going to sleep
ready
a few
to go.
days, and then like 9 days later is Open Farm Day on October 15th.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have a schedule for us yet?
I do. Okay, try to read this so I don't screw it up.
Because people keep asking me, and I'm like, I don't know this schedule. I'm just there to look cute.
And arrange people.
I'm
so
there
we
to
were talking
herd.
about this, right?
To herd people.
Amy Snell, the Devious Knitter, is going to be teaching 2 classes in brioche, beginning brioche from 9 to 12, and then in the afternoon from 1 to 4, we're going to go do brioche explorers, so increases, decreases, and things like syncopation, which is when you change the dominant color there. Pretty cool stuff. So if you're going to sign up for a class, do so now at morehousefarm.com, because those are going to go fast. There's only so much space. I want to make sure you have the studio inside in case it rains, because October in New York, all bets are off.
You never know what's
all right,
gonna
so
happen.
Open Farm Day is going to officially open at 10 o'clock, and we'll go till 4:30. We got to be in the daylight hours because we don't have, bright lights in the parking lot and that kind of stuff. We like our dark skies. And I have to remember, in October, it gets dark early.
Yeah.
So Albrecht is going to give a talk on how Morehouse Farm got started at 1:30.
Okay.
So that'll be outside on some hay bales, probably. Farm life, talking with the founder. At 12:15, we're going to do the group photo. So bring your Atlantis tunic, and we have plenty of room to be 6 feet apart if we need to. But, hey, if we can all be in the same shot, get Adam to bring his drone. Wouldn't that be cool? We can have like a Sound of Music.
I can't remember if he has a drone still or not, or if
he had one at one point, and then he was going to go get another one. But
yeah, I don't remember if he actually did. His GoPro was stolen out of his bag as we were traveling back from Belize.
Oh no!
So just a reminder: anything valuable, put it in your carry-on. Don't put it in your checked bag. So he has the worst luck with drones and GoPros. He has at least 2 of each at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh.
And then his most recent GoPro was stolen, and he's like, I think I'm done with GoPros. It's just not working for him.
So my workaround is we're going to put someone up in the hayloft.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Right, like this is actually easy, right? We could do it side of a hill, or we can have someone in the hayloft, and then we can see everybody in their sweaters. Actually, we should be far apart, right? So we can show off our sweaters.
I think side of the hill would
And then afternoon, 3:30, we're going to do knitting in the company of sheep. And this is a big deal because what we're trying to do is break the world record set by Clatter Ridge Farm for the most people knitting in the company of sheep.
I'm going to ask you what I keep getting asked, and how many people are we trying to get for this?
I don't know that we need thousands, right? Like
I know, but how many did they have? I don't
know.
People keep asking me, how many do you need to break the record? I'm like, I don't actually know.
Well, I don't think it's
we
about
need
breaking.
to find this out.
Well, I don't think it's about breaking the record, right? Like we got to set a good one because that pushes the bar higher for quality for going forward, right? So if we set this record, they're not going to just let us keep it.
Well, so the reason why we're doing it is because they have to have the attempt contested. They did knitting in the presence of sheep. And in order to get it in the Guinness book, it has to be contested by someone else. So we're contesting it.
Yes. Challenging it.
But I want to beat them. So we need to know how many people this is going to need.
I think we just need you to show up.
Okay.
bring a
Everybody
friend.
come. Everybody come. And in
then
the
starts
meantime,
making me think, oh no.
I will find out how many people we need.
And carpool, please.
Carpool. Oh yeah, carpool. There's not a lot of parking on
Like I'll
the
turn some
premises.
pasture into parking, but it is not a place where you can park on the road. Absolutely
yeah, and
not.
it's a very narrow road, and there's not a ton of parking on the grounds. So
Well, I'll go mow another pasture. However, if you carpool,
Yeah.
that's super
that
helpful.
makes it a lot easier.
So I
and
think
of course, while all of this is going on, you can shop. The shop will be open.
So I'm going to do a sign up, I think, just to make sure we have an idea of how many people are coming. And that way, if something changes or something happens, like whoa, it's going to be a crazy rainstorm, like there's a hurricane coming or something, I have a way to get a hold of you. Because you ever notice, like, when you order something online, some people just give you a different email address because they're afraid you're going to email them?
Oh, no, I haven't. I mean, I don't sell things online, so I haven't had that happen.
Okay, but like, when you sign up for someone's newsletter, do you always put the email address that you... Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's a
no.
real thing because you're worried about
Yeah.
getting spammed.
Yeah.
So, understandable completely. However, if you sign up for a class and you give me not your real phone number and not your real email address,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't have a way of
hard if
telling you
something
we're
goes-
canceling.
Yeah.
If
Have
there's-
fun standing in the rain in the sunflowers.
Oh, so anyway, we don't send you stuff you don't want.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that part. But I am going to
Okay.
do a sign up just so we have an idea of how many people are coming, and then we can also say, hey, recruit a friend if we're not close once we
Yeah.
know the number. So
So in the meantime, there's more stuff coming up in the Morehouse Merino flock group.
Yes.
You mentioned a few already, but I know there's more here that we haven't talked about yet.
So Helene Dreesen has these fabulous thrummed mittens. And if you're not familiar with
Turn them inside out.
thrumming, faster than me, Anne. Look at this. Look at this fluffy cloud-like goodness, which is merino wool. So what you do is you take a little bit of fleece and you knit it into your stitches. And that's what creates these almost bobble-like
Yeah.
bits, which are really cool to stand out in the design, but it also is super warm and super squishy on the inside. And as you wear them, it starts to felt a little bit. So it's like one extra layer.
Like a double layer, yeah.
So this is just one skein of our Morehouse Merino, the 3-strand worsted, and it fits my pretty big hand.
Wait,
and
is this one skein?
No,
or
no,
is
sorry.
a pair
Good.
is one skein?
the pair is one skein.
Okay.
I have one mitten because on the other hand, here, I'll have you wear that one,
Okay.
because that prompted me
It's so soft.
to go look through the archives, and this is one that Margaret
Oh.
made. So
I like that one too.
this is our 2-strand, the sport weight yarn, same idea. And it's 2 different thrumming techniques, which I'm really excited to learn because the way Margaret showed me when I was, I'll say young, because I was never really that small, right, is very different than what Helene does. So I'm excited to learn this. We're going to
Yeah.
add these things to our toolbox where we have some pretty awesome mittens. And she also designed some slippers, I heard. So that's going to be fantastic
Nice.
for winter in New England.
Yeah.
So
These are
like
super.
high five.
And they could double as
This com-
punching
It's like oven mitt.
boxing gloves. Oh yeah, oven mitts if you're not violent like I am. They feel so nice on the inside.
That's super awesome. And then for a brand new knitter, Margaret also had done this one, which is just a really simple rectangle.
Garter stitch.
Yep,
Nice.
and thumb also, and same idea. And doesn't that look cool? Just these little white flecks on this charcoal background.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're worried about mitten shaping or don't want to try double pointed needles, there's a pair for you as well. So
Awesome.
I'm really looking forward to that. Those are September 11th in the morning and 14th in the evening
Okay.
in the Morehouse Merino flock.
Nice.
All right.
What about?
Oh yeah.
Your,
Oh, I forgot to say, there's kits available.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about hunting
Turn
down
it around.
the roving and the yarn. So
Yeah.
those are up on
They're all
morehousefarm.com already to go.
Yeah. You had a question for our listeners, watchers, viewers.
Yeah.
About these other kits here that you have.
So we started doing some Fair Isle, and we have an awesome design by Donna Easton called the Milan Hill Mitts.
Yes.
And so this prompted a question, right? If you're going to buy full skeins of yarn, that's fantastic because you get multiples of the same thing out if you're working on, gifts, for instance.
Right.
By the same token, though, if you were going to buy a kit for just one, which do you prefer? Mini skeins or mini cakes? And I put that out there on our Instagram as a poll, and I was really surprised at the results. So I want to see what you, the real yarn connoisseurs who are following that knitting show, have to say about skeins
Yeah.
versus cakes.
So just leave a comment below and let us know if you so this is if you were getting a kit, would you prefer it to arrive as hanks or as skeins? Or, even like if you were at a show, which would you find more appealing if you were shopping, the hanks or the
And that's a good
False.
point, right? Put the comment in there of, ooh, I like that particular one because that's the super attractive packaging, but I'd really like that one better because it allows me to work with the yarn in a way that I want.
Right.
I mean, some people like to wind their own cakes. Some people like to have it ready to go. Like,
Yeah.
what's your preference? Like, we want to hear from you. So,
Yeah, so let
comment
us know.
away. Cool.
Which one?
All
Very
right,
nice.
Form a poll. Okay.
Okay. So those are through the course of the episode, I think you've gotten all the things coming up with the Morehouse Merino flock group.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say one thing. This is totally out of the blue because this popped up in my feed from last year, and I just wanted to say that, oh, by the way, this is from the day that Anne won masks.
I made that. So this is my Harriet's mask based on the pattern by Harriet Middleton called Harriet's Hat, which was used to raise money to get an MRI scanner for Shetland, the hospital on Shetland. And I just thought it would be funny we were going to be talking to Terry Laura.
I think so.
And we were also doing some promotion for the Harriet's Hat thing. What was that for?
Oh, wasn't it Fiber World?
It was Fiber World. That's what it was. Yeah, and so I actually knit this in the round. I knit two of them. So one, this was one side, and then I had another one on the other side, and then I cut both sides and made one for you, one for me. And then my daughter had made some fabric masks, and I just whip stitched it over.
Love it. I will treasure this forever.
I gotta find where mine is. I'm not sure where that ended up.
We should bust them out at Open Farm Day. Just for showing
I'll
off.
have to see
I really
it.
hope
Yeah,
we don't.
I'll have to see if I can find it. I honestly don't know where it ended up. It might be in the hall closet with my woolly stuff.
Good
I'm
place
gonna
for
have
it.
to look for it.
All right, so you're taking off pretty shortly here.
Yes,
you're going
I'm
to
going
Shetland.
to Shetland. I'm going to be there for over a month. I'm super psyched. I'm also kind of sad to be leaving my family for that long, but I'm going to see Adam. It's cool. Good things, bad things. It's a balance.
All right.
Anyway,
I'll make sure they don't have any
next
wild
year,
parties.
Erin slow drives by my house.
Just checking on Gizmo.
Their grandma's coming to stay with them.
Okay.
Please don't come rob me. There will be a grandma here. So yeah, next year though, we have the Macking Our Way Through Shetland tours, and I have some updates on that. The Fair Isle tours, totally full right now. However, if you are interested, we still have time to book another week in August.
Oh.
So if you would like to join us for 8 days in Shetland, learning from the same teachers as Shetland Wool Week, seeing the nature, learning the history of Shetland, it's fascinating stuff. Go to IthoughtIKnewHow.com/Shetland. From there you can get to my tour partner, Island Vista, and let her know that you are interested in going on a Fair Isle week. If we have enough people, we will book another week in August for Fair Isle.
You're going to have your own hotel by the time this is done.
I know. I told Adam, what I really want to do is just buy an old manor house and do knitting retreats. And he was just
I have a partner for that.
No, I don't think it's going to be for a while.
Shout out. Great idea.
Yeah, I so want to do that. The lace weeks are not full, but they're full enough to run. So all the tours are running next year. We have 3 more rooms, I want to say, in the tour going in April for Shetland Lace. And then in August, I want to say also we have 3 more rooms.
I'm going on that one.
I say rooms because we are aiming for a minimum of 7 people, and then me, so 8 people on the trip, maximum of 12. But if you share with someone, you get a little bit of a discount, and it opens up a space for someone else to be able to come.
And if you haven't learned lace knitting yet, or you're worried about, this really fine yarn, what's going to happen with it?
Yeah.
I want to do this idea. We should do this on one of our future episodes is, you know how they do fishing line with 20-pound test or whatever?
No, I don't.
Okay. Ropes and lines and that kind of stuff are rated by how much weight they can hold before they break. So we should just start seeing how much lace yarn, because it's a lot stronger than it looks.
Yeah.
However, my original point was, if you're at all worried about it, why not come learn from the most awesome teachers to teach you lace anywhere? Because then you get all the good stuff right from the beginning, and you don't have to worry about learning stuff over again or breaking any bad habits, which I probably have a lot of to do. And I'm
Shetland
really excited about this.
Shetland lace is really the perfect tradition of lace to start with, because some of the lace out there, it's a repeat of 50 stitches. It can be crazy. Shetland lace was done for the most part by production knitters who were having to get it done and get it sold. And so a lot of, even you look at some of the Shetland lace and you're just absolutely blown away by it. It is gorgeous. But when you sit and you actually look at it, it's a repeat of 8 stitches or 10 stitches, typically 12 or fewer stitches. So this is a Shetland lace.
So you can memorize it pretty easily,
Yeah,
right?
and so this is a 4-row, the pattern is a 4-row repeat. The colors vary at different rates. But I mean, look at that. It's great. I have it memorized. I had it memorized by like there. I don't look at the pattern anymore. I just keep going with it. And I mean, really, it's so doable. And the other thing is that Shetland wool is a grippy wool. I can't tell you how many times so far I have accidentally pulled my needles out of this. And it's lace, and it still just stays there, and I can get it stuck back in. So really, honestly, if you want to learn lace, Shetland is the type of lace.
I'm going on that one.
Yeah, come along. So you're going Fair Isle in May, lace in September.
I told Anne I'd be there for her first, debut tour. So
sandwiching the tours.
So, but I want to do both, and then
Yeah.
it gives me a chance to, have something to look forward to too.
Yeah.
So, and start to miss my own pillow after, 10 days.
I am literally bringing my own sheets with me on this trip. We were in Belize on this last trip, and the sheets, it was a beautiful hotel. Like it was it was houses, right? So one half of the house was for one person, the other half was for the other person, and then the upstairs was another thing. And so we had, my in-laws and I had the bottom of one house, and literally stepped out onto the porch, and like 12 feet away was the ocean. And it was a protected bay, so it just sort of like came a little higher and a little lower, and that was it, through the course
Sounds gorgeous.
of it. It was
Just for,
amazing.
quiet and...
The sheets were terrible.
Oh.
They were like old, worn sheets, and I was just like, this is the worst part of this trip, is going to bed and having these awful sheets. So I was like thinking about what I was going to pack and stuff for this trip I'm going on. I'm going to be in 4 different Airbnbs while I'm there over the course of nearly 5 weeks. I was like, I'm just bringing my own sheets. It's just...
And you can bail them home if you want them, or donate them to a good cause at the end, right?
Yeah,
and
bring
you have
my
more
own
room for yarn.
sheets. Anyway, next month our episode is going to be a little late. We try and put these out on the 4th. I'm not going to be home before the 4th, so we're going to
5th.
be a little, well...
I'll have to get up at whatever Anne's jet lag says.
It'll probably be a week later, I'm guessing, just by the time we can meet up and then have it edited and up. But it will be coming. It'll be the last one before we have open farm day.
Yeah, so stay tuned for any other things we may add.
Yeah.
I am working on something really cool from Marin Melchior, the butterfly lady.
Did you want to show that today, or did you want to save it for next time?
I think we're going to save it for next time.
Okay, we've been talking a while. Our garden talk at the beginning, and
yeah, well, hey, you got peppers.
And
must munch, right?
yes, we need to wrap this up so I can eat my
Finish
pepper.
the rest of your snacks. Yes.
I'm going to get so many comments, stop eating on the thing. I'm sorry, I can't.
No, I'm like drooling over mine that's sitting
They're
here
really
in front of
good.
me. So
I'm gonna have
I
to-
think we covered it all, though, right?
I think so.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure. And
Thanks,
hope
everyone.
you've enjoyed knitting, chatting, travel, gardening,
Eating.
peppers, and have lots of inspiration for what is going to go on your needles next.
Yeah.
So hope to see you in the
Absolutely.
flock on one of these tours, and definitely at Open Farm Day.
Yeah. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.